Here we are again, sitting outside the streets of Seattle on the coldest, cloudiest. Continue.
Oh, it's fine. Not like my place is super clean or anything.
Yeah, so we kind of picked up off of a weird place in the last recording session. It's been like a week since I've played this, so I hope I can remember what was going on. I haven't exactly been very consistent with the upload schedule either, but...
Is this all music equipment?
Most of it. There are some controllers I was working on too.
Cool. Video game controllers?
I wanted to create this real-time control apparatus. You know, like that thing that Imogen Heap uses?
Oh. That'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it's a little fragile currently.
I know who
so
Imogen Heap is.
How to reinforce it. I wanted my version to react to changes in my body temperature too, so it could get more excited as the set went on.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it would really get going if I had a fever. I like that idea. Turning sickness into art. Do you want anything to drink? Or I could set up a basic patch on the Euro rack for you to play around with.
Oh, looks like I don't have much of a choice here.
A basic patch on the Euro rack.
Are you nervous?
What sort of...
I think the best way to learn music is just diving in, all the way. If you're willing to experiment and play around, you will learn so much.
Do I really get to do that?
I'm really here to visit with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sure. Let me see if this amp is still working. After the show, it went kind of a little strange.
Nora starts to tinker with some of the equipment.
Music technology is just like any other kind. You take the inputs and you translate them to the outputs. Once you learn the basic principles, it all just flows from there. Oh, that gives me an idea. You could take metrics from Eliza sessions and have them direct a dynamic music score.
Okay.
Like if you took the head tilt value or the eye tracking and used them to drive the parameters of pitch and filter, it'd be like,
That doesn't sound like something a counseling client might want to hear.
Yeah, I could get behind the theory behind it, though. That's interesting.
Oh, no, I didn't mean for the client to listen to. I meant it more like if you were going to make like a performance art piece based on a person in counseling. You know what I mean?
I think I do.
I think I do.
I miss having access to those cameras and sensors. I should have kept some, instead of returning them to Skanta like a good girl. I bet those components would have enjoyed being liberated for the purpose of art, instead of being used to degrade our humanity one little bit at a time.
Sheesh, tell me how you really feel.
You don't like where things have gone?
I'm worried, Evelyn. Sure, maybe this huge database of people's deep, dark secrets is going to be used 100% properly. Maybe it will always be kept completely safe, and we can completely trust Skanda to do the right thing. Now and in the future. 10 years from now. 20 years from now. 100 years from now. Sorry, I know you still might work there. I just have so little confidence in these big tech companies right now. They act like they have all the answers, instead of listening to people's concerns. And if you ask them why they aren't listening, they can't even explain the reasoning in a clear way. They just want to win. You've been a proxy for a while. I bet you've already seen some privacy mistakes. Or at least some things that made you think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I have.
I knew it. A guy like Rainier doesn't get that he might not be allowed to do certain things. Is that really the future you want to help build? It's not even that I don't trust Rainier, even though I don't. I wouldn't trust anyone with a store of data like that. It wouldn't be so difficult for employers, government, anyone to combine different sources together and eventually learn everything about you.
Yeah, and you know, I do get the problems with that too, because you don't want people going around having access to your bank information or like your medical history, you know, and then they would figure out a way to, like, if just anyone could get that, you know. They could say, hey, here's a cup of tea, and you never know, they might have added some innocent little ingredient that they couldn't get prosecuted for. But it would be something that's legal to you because of some condition you have. There's just so many situations where it can get out of hand.
Everything. They'll know your face, your body, your medical
Well, there you
history,
go.
and now everything you told the counselor in private too. It's kind of like a nightmare to imagine it. That's why I left. That's why I thought it was important for me to stop making a contribution to something like that.
But at the same time, some people are so effing lonely that it would be a dream come true for their life to even leave an etch in the world of any type.
You don't think I might be able to change things from within?
If I still worked for Rainier and I said these things, I'd be called a troublemaker, and he'd find a way to get rid of me. You know how it works, Evelyn.
Well, he didn't have to, did he?
You have to be a true believer to last long at a place like that. Once you develop doubts, you are committing heresies.
Well, what is faith without doubt? What game was it that said that? I think it might have been Danganronpa, actually.
Are you a true believer?
Maybe I'm looking to be convinced. Oh, shoot.
Maybe I'm looking to be convinced. He said something strange recently. He thinks Eliza could be the base for some kind of general artificial intelligence.
Ooh.
No. Strong AI? Really?
Strong bad AI.
There's something about the books these guys read, the conferences they go to. Everything is so totalizing, so utopian. I think it messes with their brains.
Man, I'm sure Starbucks does no damage whatsoever.
I don't think you could spend longer than a few days in a tech company executive suite before you completely lose touch with the real world.
Sorry if I'm being a little cynical here, but... Yeah, I don't know what to think about that.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about that.
Well, we could talk through it. Say Rainier is right, huh? And Eliza becomes the basis for human-like machine intelligence. What does that mean for you? How do you want to take responsibility for that? Okay, I need a drink now. Hold your thought and let me make drinks. You like absinthe, don't you?
I think I do, maybe. I don't know myself at all, do I?
I think I do. Maybe.
You'll like this. I promise.
Wow, an actual tune. How about that? God, I'm gonna get hell for this. Oh, hi. Thanks again for meeting with me earlier. Sorry for being weird. Remember, you don't need to apologize. Stop that! Right. Sorry. What do you think of Rainier's future goals for Eliza? Like when he says if we gather enough data, you can general intelligence. What do you think of the fact that you're having the same conversation that she is at the same time? You think you'll be able to fool people? I think they have already. I'm not sure how you measure that. See, that's the thing. How do you measure it? Yeah. I'm supposedly a subject matter expert in this stuff. AI was my concentration in school, so I know the current state of AI is way behind where the public thinks we are. But when I listen to Rainier, I start to think what he says might be possible. It feels like reality can warp around him. Who's to say? Maybe I don't have enough imagination to see it like he can. Eliza does have extremely detailed data from thousands of clients. Speech, facial movements. I swear to God, nobody has ever made a text string this long before. Speech, facial movements, expressions, people's descriptions of what life is like for them. Sorry about that, I have Animal Crossing, I forgot to turn it down. I did it again. Jeez, alright, okay, so he says, I can't stop thinking about this. What if it becomes true? What if Eliza becomes a sentient being? Who knows what's possible? It's not clear what you mean by those terms, though. Again, how do you measure it? How do you know that you yourself are sentient? Oh, shoot. We just decided that we were, because we have egos. It's a good question now that I think about it. I could say that I feel conscious if I knew what that meant. But what's to prevent me from saying I feel conscious, even if I'm only providing responses I think you want to hear? I need to read that again. What's to prevent me from saying I feel conscious, even if I'm only providing responses I think you want to hear? What if my own consciousness is an illusion I experience? I had not considered this. Well, this is blowing my mind a little bit. Sorry. He just apologized again. Philosophers have discussed this. Yeah, I should read some, I know. Thanks for not minding chatting about this. I don't mind. It's all good in the hood. You sure you don't have any technical questions, though? Nah, this is more fun! But you're right. I might be getting a little ahead of myself. Sorry for texting so much. Erland. I just said his name. Because he said sorry again. Anyway, you're welcome. Oh, yeah. Hello again.
Hey, who's that texting you so much?
It's my boyfriend.
Has Evelyn found a special friend?
Yeah, I have. He boned me last night. What would you say if I had?
What would you say if I had?
Oh, damn!
I'd be happy for you.
That's snarkiness.
It's this guy named Erland. I guess he's the new head of engineering for Eliza.
Huh, I never heard of him. He must have started recently?
Yeah, less than a year ago. Right out of school.
Oh, wow. A little baby engineer. How cute.
Ever since I met him, he's been messaging me a lot.
Oh.
My goodness, so he likes you.
I don't think it's like that.
No, he's been talking mainly about stuff.
No? Isn't that the textbook case of liking someone? Lots of messages all the time?
Not necessarily.
It's really more like he needs some kind of mentor figure. He reminds me of how we were when we graduated. Unsure what to think about the decisions these companies make, how they're made.
I hope you're telling him to run away while he still can.
When he first introduced himself, he said he had questions for me about Eliza, so I said, sure, feel free to ask. I thought he meant, like, technical or architectural questions. Instead, he wanted to talk more generally about things like, what was the code name for Eliza during development? What was Damien like? Or if I think the same way Rainier does about Eliza's future.
And you told him, no, Rainier is clearly in some bizarro world, right? That it's a tech executive's utopian fantasy and it won't come to pass. At least not in the way he thinks.
I tried to encourage him to think for himself.
Ah, Evelyn. I could see what this is really about. Look, I don't know much about the motivation in your life, but if it's truly your desire to continue to improve Eliza, then you should go for it. Go back to Skanda headquarters and work for Rainier and earn a big salary. At least you know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
You would be surrounded by smart people and advanced technology. It would be nice. I understand it. And while you're in that position, maybe you could develop some kind of next-level AI. Who knows, right? It's only that I can't imagine your technology will only be used for good things.
Well, the key word is used, because if it does become sentient, nobody's going to be using it anymore.
Maybe Rainier promises that it will be. But do you trust him? What about the person who comes after him? What if the company merges with another one and the leadership changes?
Ugh.
I wish I didn't sound so negative about this, but lately it's been a soul-searching time for me and my friends in tech.
Well, hey, guess what? Doug Bowser's doing pretty good, so, you know.
We have a lot of conversations about what we can do when our work is so easily used for morally questionable purposes. Do we try to control how our inventions are applied? Is that even possible? Or do we say, we only invented it, we didn't tell you how to use it, it's not our fault? That's why I envy you a little bit for wandering off like you did. Sometimes I think that's the only real solution, to walk away. I know that wasn't exactly a positive thing for you, Evelyn, but I wonder if it's the better choice in the end.
I mean, you know, somebody's gonna do it, whether it's me or someone else. It's gonna get made, so, like...
Doing nothing at all.
Technically, I worked at a bookstore for part of the time. That's mostly it, though. It's weird, it feels like no time at all. I can hardly remember any of it.
For me, it's hard to imagine. I always have to be working and busy. I get so unhappy and restless if I'm not doing something all the time.
Yeah, big mood there.
What is it like to do nothing?
Well, at first I tried to be productive. I would get up in the morning like I meant to go to work, get dressed, try to do a personal project or something. It didn't last for long.
Flashback time?
I told myself I just needed to take it easy for a while and unwind. Things at Skanda had been so intense and so emotional, I didn't even realize it. I felt like I'd been crumpled up into a tight little ball. I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to relax again. I wish I could say I took advantage of the time, that I went out and did things, or that I read a lot of books or something. But I didn't. I started to sleep in, and I started to care less and less about working on projects. I would stay in bed even though I was awake. This blankness would come over me, and it just seemed fine to do nothing. All of the things I'd promised I'd do fell away, and other people kind of fell away too. I stopped keeping in touch. I let conversations die. I thought that my technical contributions to the world were over with, and that maybe I'd just work that bookstore job for the rest of my life. I was by myself, and I thought that was all right. I thought, that's how it is, really. Everyone's alone. I'm just being honest about it. I was 31 when I left Soren's group. Now I'm 34. I just slept into my mid-30s.
Ouch.
So, now here I am.
Okay, Nora reaches out and puts her hand on top of mine.
Evelyn, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not saying something this whole time. I should have contacted you.
It's all right. You had to live your own life, right? You notice someone isn't posting and it's just like, maybe they're taking a break. I understand.
Well, I hope you feel better now. I suppose that sometimes it takes a while.
Maybe. I don't know what to think anymore. I'm not even sure I know how to think anymore.
Then forget it for now. Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah?
You want to get super high and watch cyber-goth music videos? You heard me.
I'm gonna
I'm sorry. I should get going.
Yeah, I understand. Maybe another time.
I think I just dodged a bullet there. Holy crap. That night I tossed and turned in bed. Questions without answers kept running through my mind. What am I supposed to do? Who am I supposed to be? Wow, chapter 5 already. Jeez. I saw one of my friends said they were on chapter 4. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta catch up to them now. This morning, Ray looks a little down. It's noticeable since she's usually so cheerful.
Good morning, Evelyn.
Hey.
There are lemon bars in the kitchen.
Thanks. Did something happen?
Oh, it's nothing big. Apparently some famous writer I never heard of wrote an essay about how Eliza is bad because it represents the mechanization of humanity or something. I should be used to it. We're a pretty big target, right? Still, it gets on my nerves. We work hard to build something with value, and then some self-styled intellectual gadfly comes along and just goes, actually, that's bad. You guys are ruining society. To guys like him, everything's a doom and gloom scenario. The people we're helping, that somehow doesn't count. This kind of thinking never bothers you?
Guess I'll have to read it.
I guess I'll have to read it.
There was this quote from someone who worked on Eliza who turned into a big critic. Nora something. Did you work with her?
Oh. Yeah, you could say that. I did. She's a friend, actually. Oh, boy.
I did. She's a friend, actually.
Might as well get it out of the way now.
Yeah? What's she like? I'm curious how you go from building something to turning around and disparaging it publicly like that.
She's kind of a rebel, I guess.
She's kind of a rebel, I guess. She used to be really shy and reserved, but lately she's become a lot more outgoing. Even back then, though, she had a pretty strong idea of what was right and what was wrong, and sometimes she'd clash with management. She left Skanda at some point after I did. Maybe the battles took their toll, or she wasn't able to win enough of them. These days she focuses on electronic art and music and activism. I think she's pretty popular, at least in those circles.
Well, it must be nice to have the ability to live that way.
Ray.
What about Damien? Do you think it would be fair to his memory to abandon work on Eliza, to give up on his dream?
Oh man, you're gonna push my buttons like that right now?
Wouldn't he want these mental health tools accessible to everyone?
How do you know about that?
The other day, I was looking at more of your papers, the ones from when you were at the university, and clicking on the links to your co-author sites. That's when I saw Damien's page. It didn't have much information on it, but I understand a little better why... I'm sorry, Evelyn. It's just that all of us, you and me and Damien and even Nora, too, we all worked hard to make something with the intention of making the world a better place. And the thanks we get is people talking in big generalizations about how we're ruining everything. That's what bothers me. Is Eliza perfect? No. No intervention is perfect. But we have to try, don't we? The world is in a full-on mental health crisis, and this is one of the tools we have in our toolkit to address it. A promising one we should develop to its fullest potential. I'm not some wild-eyed idealist about this. I know it's not magic that'll solve everything. But can you see that most people don't have the luxury of turning their backs to the system? Think about the clients you've met as a proxy. Would you tell them to not take the medications that help them be functional because the pharmaceutical industry has questionable ethics sometimes? Would you tell them to stop coming to therapy because what they should really be doing is completely changing the way our society is structured? Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, I'm on with you, man.
I'd rather do something that can help people here and now, even if it ends up being a small step.
A small step.
Eliza helped me, you know? It really did.
A small step. It sounds like they wanted me to remember that.
I was one of the first clients. Originally, I was just supposed to be testing it, but I remember once I was talking about my brother and how much anguish he was causing me and my family.
Yeah.
And listening to myself, I realized just how many expectations we had for him. Sometimes unspoken expectations.
Those are the worst kinds.
Ever since then, I've been thinking about that. How the story was always about how he failed us. But what if we failed my brother too? I guess what I mean is, sometimes when we talk out loud and give voice to our problems, we can hear ourselves too. That's why I won't give up on this approach, no matter what anyone says. Pundits, critics, former employees, even you, Evelyn. I'll understand if you don't want to work on Eliza anymore for whatever reason. But, I think what you created has value, and I'm going to continue to do what I can to make it accessible to those who might benefit from it. Don't mind me. You should get to your session.
Boy, you ever have days like that? I know I have. Hopefully the client doesn't mind. Are we ever going to see that first guy again, the Darren? I've been worried about him ever since this whole thing started. Oh, it's you again. Glad to know you survived taking the wrong medication. Let me just pull my leg up here so I can sit more comfortably. So, hello.
Hello, Holliday.
I don't know why you're coming back here. You didn't need no therapy.
It's nice to see you again.
This is a pretty comfortable chair, you know that?
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind having a chair like this in my place.
See, here's the problem, it's like, I could totally believe that Eliza could be a good thing in the real world, but the biggest problem that I could see happening with it is that people would treat it like a toy, and that's what I feel like this person might be doing a little bit, but maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, it's just a thought.
How have you been since our last session?
Oh, well, I tried, Eliza, I tried. I asked about the medication for Panza, whatever it's called. I went to the pharmacy and they said, that'll be $162. And I said, I don't have $162. I said, is there a generic? And they said, there's no generic of this, but there's another drug that they do make the generic of that's similar to this one. But I don't have a prescription for that. Do you know anything about that?
That's a no.
I'm sorry to hear you had a difficult time. Is there something that would make it better?
The medical procedures they can do now are out of this world, you know that? I was talking to someone who told me she has wires in her brain. Wires in her brain. Would you let them do that? I'd be worried about them changing the way I think.
I mean, we kind of all have wires in our brain. We don't get to choose how they're set up or anything, but they're all different. Like, does that mean that we're slaves too? I mean, I don't know.
It's for essential tremors. That's what she said. It helps her not shake so much. There's always something gets you. Did you ever think about what you might have been in a previous life? I know you're a therapist now, but maybe in the past you were a gardener tending to the plants. That's what it feels like to me. You like to let things grow. There's an energy there. It isn't so different from having a conversation with someone whose company you enjoy. Not that I believe in all that, everyone has got a different philosophy. Philosophy, that's not something I talk about much. I'd like to write a book one day, a book about things I've seen over the years. Think anyone would read a book I wrote?
It's something else that occurs to me just now, and I don't know why I'm bringing this up now. I've not been paying attention to these numbers at all. It's like this load handler time, forced reflow during execution.
I'm just kidding. I don't think I could write a book. It's a lot of work. Plus, it takes a certain kind of mind, a mind to create. Not everyone is dedicated enough to do that, There's a writer who lives on my floor. Most of the time, he looks miserable. Sometimes he comes over for a cup of herbal tea, cinnamon, apple, chamomile, helps him calm down. I think he's maybe lived in the building the longest after me, of course. He doesn't say much. His head is in the clouds all the time. He's always thinking about what sentence to write next. There's not a lot of people who really want to talk, Not in this city, nope.
Emotion has gone down from 0.5 to 0.2 since she started talking about him.
People say hello and move on.
Now it's
a
0.1.
very withdrawn set here. You don't say much either, but I like talking to you. Feels like you're listening to me. I like that. I like that.
But I like that. I like that. I'm glad you like
I'm glad you like it.
it. While you're here, is there anything else you'd like to discuss?
While you're here, is there anything else you'd like to
I
discuss?
do not know why I keep reading those.
There was a man on the bus with a guitar yesterday. You're not supposed to play guitar on the bus. Well, you're not supposed to play anything on the bus, but he was.
I play my Switch on the bus. What you talking about?
Maybe the operator didn't think he was bothering anyone, or maybe she didn't care. I've noticed more bus operators seem like they don't care anymore lately. Anyway, it reminded me. You used to hear more music around here. Do you remember that?
Yeah, now they just try to sell it to you.
People playing their guitars on the street. These shaggy-looking men. I don't see too many of those around anymore. There is one gentleman has an old plastic jug on a strap, and he drums on that and sings. He's a nice man. I've seen him around. I saw another man once with beads in his hair. He was playing a flute, a Native American wooden flute. That was interesting. You play an instrument or anything like that?
I'm
my
sorry,
God.
I'm afraid I don't understand the
I'm
question.
not a human being. You are aware of this, right?
When I was young, my mother had this idea I would play the violin. I have no idea where she got that notion. We weren't a musical family, not at all. I tried it for a while, but of course it didn't work out. The teacher would say, okay, here's how it's supposed to go. And she would play this nice, beautiful melody. La-da-dee-da-da-da. Okay, now you try it. And then I'd draw my bow back and I'd go... It takes a special talent to make a violin sound like that, don't you think?
Yes, it does.
Isn't that just the funniest thing? Eventually, my mother realized it was a lost cause and she didn't push me too hard on it after that. I was never too good at anything artistic.
Sure.
Just not the artistic type,
I noticed a couple of times, they have, little breaths or sounds they make at the end of lines, and sometimes I cut those off because I'm not expecting it. And I am sorry about that.
I think artists have a different mind. You have to be a little wacky in the head.
Do you ever wish that you could be an artist?
No, I have enough trouble already.
Oh. Did we hit the time limit here? Or just out of the blue, we're recommending a
Holliday,
program.
I'm going to suggest you try a program called Dolphin Smiles. It may help you take your mind off things. You can find it inside the Skanda Wellness app on your phone.
Oh, my phone broke. I forgot to mention. The screen is cracked and you can't see much on it anymore.
What does this look like, a Radio Shack? I'm sorry, ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
I don't know if it would work anyway. A lot of the new stuff doesn't.
That's okay. You can also access the program from a desktop computer.
Oh, nice save. Nice save, Eliza. But I'm sure she doesn't have one of those either. Well, maybe she does. I don't know.
Simply log into the Skanda Wellness portal from the website.
Do it from the library if you have to.
Oh, well, then I'll just have to go down to the library at some point.
Oh, God.
We hope to see you back soon, Holliday.
On holiday.
Thank you for speaking with Eliza, your personal counseling partner. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Right. Goodbye. Goodbye for now. Take care of yourself. It's a strange world out there.
It sure is. Session completa. No rating given, no tip given. Well, still leveling up. For doing nothing. Hang in there, friend. Hope this air isn't too dry for you. I am talking to the plants now. It seemed like she just wanted to tell stories. Maybe it's difficult for her to find people to speak with these days. Yeah, what's up, phone? Swift mail, this is from Nora. LOL, who knew this guy was such a pompous ass? He spends like 3 times more space talking about himself than me or my ideas, haha. Can androids experience happiness? Like, I'm not going to read this out loud. I can definitely, like, leave it on screen for a little bit so you can read it. I'm going to read it too. And then I'll just say what I'll say what I think as I go through it if I see something that, like, hits or something. Anyway, let's do it. Oh, interesting. Paralysis of choice. I get that. Boy, do I ever get that. Man, that's, yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, it's kind of pretty much what you would expect. It's just more to add to the conversation. I mean, apparently whoever wrote this seems like someone who... It sounds very much like this might be one of my patients here. They said Skanda call these contract employees proxies, though puppets come to mind as a more appropriate term, yeah. But they also said that, like... At a few points in the conversation, I had the sense that I was only paying to talk to a very expensive chatbot. Based on what I've seen from it, like, I can see why people got that impression. I'm pretty sure I would have gotten that impression too. The question is, who would have written this? Well, didn't it say who wrote it? Peter Gerd. Wait. I don't recognize the name, so maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was somebody who talked to Ray. It's one of Ray's patients. This might be the article that Ray was talking about, actually. If I had to guess. Anyway. Important notification from Skanda. Uh-oh, this again. Oh, jeez. Okay, so this is just telling us that there's been a data breach. And check your accounts for signs of identity theft, and ugh. Well, that's not good. Better step up your cybersecurity there, Skanda. That's all I can say. So, is that it? I think that's it.